Hey Yoda brothers, what's up? It's the director here to talk a little bit more Chargers football. We're rocking the number 56 today, Sean Merriman, for a special occasion. Got a pretty nice lineup of content for you guys today. But firstly, we have surpassed 11,000 subs. I am super grateful for you guys. Literally the small amount of time you take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification help me out so much. If you guys like these Chargers videos and want to see more, hit us up with that thumbs up, man. It really means a lot. And with that, let's get into the subject matter of this video. Today, I'm going to give you 4 possible Chargers draft day scenarios. Now, these are a little bit fun. Some of them are a little more far-fetched than others, but hey, the NFL draft, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. Some of these are actually way more realistic, more firm to the ground. Others are a little bit more far-fetched, but they're fun to think about. So let's jump into our first scenario. With scenario number 1, the Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. They think it over, not very long, and decide to take their guy, Joe Burrow. We all saw it coming from a mile away. Washington Redskins at pick number 2 get their guy Chase Young. And at pick number 3, the Detroit Lions, they get a phone call from the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers say, hey, we got this sweet deal we want to offer you guys. And the Lions decide to accept. We give away our 6th pick, our 37th pick, and a 2021 second round pick in order to draft Tua Tagovailoa. Now, a lot of you guys know where I stand. I really want Tua on the LA Chargers. I think the injury concern does exist, but I'm still willing to roll those dice because he's just such an elite prospect, something truly special that deserves this kind of risk, this kind of attention in order to acquire for the future of our team. And these are just scenarios too. Don't get super offended if it doesn't match what your dream scenario is for this draft day video, but it's something fun to think about. So in this scenario, we did trade away our 2nd round pick so that nobody can be selected there. And in the 3rd round, decided to go with a guy like Ezra Cleveland if he does fall. I know he's a bit on the rise, but it is possible that he's still there in round number 3. So I like it. First scenario, kind of exciting. The Chargers using a little bit of capital to trade up and jump the Dolphins for Tua. Who knows how this whole thing's going to shake out. So draft scenario 1 is on the board. Let's move into draft scenario 2. Now, this one I think is both super realistic, but also at the same time, something maybe a lot of Chargers fans haven't thought about. Just open your mind up a little bit here. With the 1st pick, the Bengals take Joe Burrow. The 2nd pick, the Redskins take Chase Young. The 3rd pick, the Chargers don't call the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions decide to instead trade away the 3rd pick to the Miami Dolphins. They acquire a 5th, a 26th, and a 2021 3rd to draft their guy, Tua Tagovailoa, now a brand new Miami Dolphin. It's a lot to trade up for. I think the Detroit Lions would be very happy with that. And now that wipes Tua away as a possibility for the Chargers. At pick number 4, the New York Giants select Isaiah Simmons. I know a lot of Chargers fans hope that he falls to us. I think the Giants are really eyeing him. And I think he's also one of those guys we may have to trade up for if we really want to acquire him. At pick number 5, via their trade with the Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions are going to select their guy they wanted all along, Jeff Okudah. Great deal for the Detroit Lions, getting away with their guy, as well as a late 1st round and a 2021 3rd round pick. So that leaves the Chargers, who decided to stay put at pick number 6. We're going to take Jedrick Wills. You see, with Jeff Okudah, Isaiah Simmons, and Tua already off the board, I think this is a super intelligent pick. We pick up this guy that's going to solidify our offensive line for years to come. And when you look at the other moves we already made this offseason with Brian Bulaga, Trey Turner, and now Jedrick Wills, I think we'd have one of the best offensive lines in football, and at the very least, the best offensive line we have seen in very many years. So honestly, even if all those my guys are off the board, I could roll with Jedrick Wills. I think that's a very intelligent pick in the 1st round. But the Chargers are not done in the 1st round either. I did something kind of sneaky here. The Chargers do want a quarterback, and they're willing to trade back into the 1st round to get him. And they find a trade partner in San Francisco who is a little bit short on capital this year, could definitely like to acquire a little bit more. We're going to acquire their 31st pick from them, trading away our 2nd pick and a 4th round pick in order to draft our quarterback of the future, Jordan Love. Now, before everybody starts saying Jordan Love's going to be off the board and this and that, it's completely possible that Jordan Love is still there at the tail end of the 1st round. A very recent example of that being this last year's MVP, Lamar Jackson. I remember sitting there at the TV screaming for the Chargers to trade back into the 1st round to get Lamar. I think this time around, they're going to listen. Sure, it does take our 2nd round and 4th round pick in order to acquire him, but that's a small price to pay in order to get Jedrick Wills and Jordan Love in the first round. Honestly, guys, this one I'm leaning on just a little bit. Like, I'm such a huge Tua Tagovailoa fan. I want him on the Chargers desperately. But if we can get Jedrick Wills and Jordan Love, I really could not be mad about that. So there's our draft day scenario number 2. Draft day scenario number 3. This one's a little bit more grounded. This is something I think could definitely happen on draft day. So buckle up. Here we go. With the first pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow. With the second pick, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young. With the third pick, the Detroit Lions select Jeff Okudah. With the fourth pick, this is where things get interesting, the New York Giants decide to select Jedrick Wills. They need offensive tackle probably as much as we do, guys. And I know a lot of people think Isaiah Simmons is going to them. That's probably absolutely the case. If he's sitting in their lap at pick number 4, I can definitely see New York pulling the trigger on Isaiah Simmons. But what if they don't? What if they take Jedrick Wills instead? And then at pick number 5, the Miami Dolphins decide, hey, we got our guy Tua Tagovailoa. We didn't need to trade up to get him. Let's go ahead and snag our quarterback of the future. The Chargers all of a sudden are sitting there at pick number 6. Isaiah Simmons still on the board. They're looking towards Justin Herbert and very quickly looking back at Isaiah Simmons, because this is going to be the pick for the LA Chargers at pick number 6. They get their guy Isaiah Simmons, matching him back there with Derwin James, Casey Hayward, Joey Bosa, all of these. This would be one of the coolest defenses we've seen in the NFL in a long time. So I would call that an absolute huge win for the Chargers, being able to acquire Isaiah Simmons in the first round. And we get to keep our second and third round picks, not having to put up any capital for a trade. So what about the second round? I'm going to give to the Chargers in the second round Denzel Mims, wide receiver. I think he could definitely fall into the second round. The more mock drafts I do, the more I see the possibility of him making it to us back in round number 2. So I think that's a huge possibility, but there's other wide receivers I like to see there, as well as maybe a running back. I see a lot of guys really wanting running back in round number 2 or 3. So I'll keep that mindset open for next time as well. And in the third round, we can still address our quarterback of the future, maybe trade back into the late second round, because I see him going there in mock drafts as well. We're going to get Jalen Hurts. I see a lot of comps between him and Tyrod Taylor, who is currently on our team. If we have the Tyrod Taylor mentoring the future Tyrod Taylor, I think the future Tyrod Taylor and Jalen Hurts could be better than our current Tyrod Taylor. A lot of dots to connect. I know it's like a Marvel movie, but you get the gist of what I'm talking about. I'm totally open to getting Jalen Hurts on our team because I think he would develop very well into our system. I really do think that the system that Jalen Hurts goes into is very important when it comes to if he can succeed in the NFL or not. And I think the Chargers are a very, very good system for him. So I don't hate it. We can roll out with Tyrod Taylor, let Jalen Hurts sit a while to learn behind and get caught up with the system, and then roll him out in 21 when he's had a year to sit behind Tyrod Taylor. So I don't hate it, man. I think I like that. Not a bad draft day scenario. And with our fourth scenario, and this is the one I had the most fun with, so sue me, this is where things get kind of bonkers, and it has to do with some rumors I've been hearing these past couple of days. With the first pick, the Cincinnati Bengals will select nobody because they decided to trade away their pick to the Miami Dolphins. This might make a lot of Dolphins fans super happy if you happen to be watching on this channel. It might also make some Bengals fans pretty happy because you guys just picked up a ton of capital. I have the potential trade shaking out as such. The Miami Dolphins will receive the number 1 pick overall, and the Cincinnati Bengals will receive 2 first-round picks at pick number 5 and 18, as well as Xavier Howard. Kind of interesting, right? I think I read an article about something like that as far as the trade working out. That is something I think is super entertaining, and I think it's something that, I mean, I don't know, dudes. The first overall pick, I don't know what that's worth. To me, it's absolutely priceless. You don't trade that away, but if you do, I think that trade at least gets you thinking a little bit. What if they also threw in, like, you know, a second round pick next year or a second and third round pick next year? I don't know if you can say no to that. So fun scenario right there. Joe Burrow is off the board via the Miami Dolphins. With the second pick, the Redskins select Chase Young as expected. The third pick, the Detroit Lions select Jeff Okudah. With the fourth pick, this is where the Chargers start getting excited here again too. They say, hey, nobody traded up to the third pick with the Detroit Lions. The Giants are sitting right here. I know they want Isaiah Simmons, and I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to take him, seeing as they've got a huge need at quarterback still at pick number 5. So the Giants are going to trade back with the Chargers. In return, the Chargers are going to give them the 6th overall pick and the 71st overall pick, as well as a 3rd round pick next season. I know it's a bit hefty to only move up 2 spots, That's what you got to do to get your guy, and they're going to get their guy in Tua Tagovailoa. But really in this scenario, I think it's about the Chargers not having to give up as much capital to trade up, because the Dolphins already gave a king's ransom for the first overall pick. So the Chargers didn't need to trade up as soon to jump the Dolphins. And Cincinnati Bengals can still make it out of there with the quarterback being Justin Herbert or whoever. I don't know, man. All I know is that they've also got an additional first-round pick and Xavier Howard, so they should be pretty happy. And then the Giants get their guy the entire time, Isaiah Simmons, at pick number 6. Kind of an exciting, weird little scenario, but something I had to put in here because I've been seeing a lot of rumors about the Miami Dolphins wanting to trade up to pick number 1 in order to get Joe Burrow. Maybe this whole smokescreen about Tua Tagovailoa wasn't about Tua this entire time. Maybe it was about the best quarterback in this draft class, period. And now they've got all the draft capital to make it happen. That's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Why go after Tua? I mean, he may be their guy because, I mean, he's my guy. There's definitely a reason why they love him too. But maybe they just want the best quarterback they can get this year. And that's why they've been getting all this draft capital in order to trade up to the first overall pick. It's going to cost them an arm and a leg. But if it's something they want to do, they're prepared to do it. Anyway, guys, what do you think about these draft day scenarios? I know that they're kind of like left field. Some of them were a little bit odd. And I ran with a lot of fun scenarios in this one. But let me know what you guys think. Are some of these realistic? Which one of these 4 scenarios would you like to most likely see the Chargers to do? And what would you say is a cool, crazy draft day scenario for the Bolts? Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you like these videos, hit us up with a like and sub. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Bolt up. This has been The Director. And as always, stay frosty.